In section 3-4, work together, we have 4 transactions to complete, as well as going through the process of completing the last page of a journal and proving pages. So first thing we need to do is get these 2 transactions in there. April 23rd, we sold services on account to K-Spa. 23rd. Sales invoice number 2. Sold services, so we need to have cash. I like to do the special column first. 150 credit cash, and we're going to debit K-Spa to increase that asset to show that they owe us more money. Debit, credit, date, and source document. On the 27th, we paid cash to owner as a withdrawal of equity. On the 27th, we have our owner, Norma Dirks, drawing because she made a withdrawal. Check number 7. We always debit the drawing account, so that's pretty easy. Debit 800, credit cash for 800. Now we're to the bottom. Remember, if we have less than 2 lines left, then we need to prove the page and move on to the next. In case this next transaction would be a 2-line entry, we wouldn't have enough space. So first we need to put the date. It's always the date from the last transaction. So we'll have the 27th. We write carried forward. So we're going to carry this information forward. And then we need to total each column. So you'll need a calculator, or use the calculator that you might have on your computer to total those. So we'll go through and add those totals in. I already have them totaled up, so I just need to place those in there. These are totals of the entire column. And there are our totals. Now we need to make sure before we move on that the debits equal the credits. So our debit, general debit, so we're in the general column, debit. So general column, debit, 5,615. General column credit, 3,655. Sales, we're only going to have a credit, 3,130. Coming from the sales credit. Cash debit, 5,555. Finally, cash credit, 4,385. We're going to add those columns up, so our total debits should equal 11,170. Add up these 3 numbers, our 3 credits, add up to 11,170. That is good to go, so we can move to the next step. Now we need to journalize still. We still have 2 more transactions for the month. So they brought forward all those numbers from page 1 for us. Now we're on page 2. So on April 29th, we received cash on account from K-Spa. So she owed us money. Now she's paying us. So accounts receivable, K-Spa. This is receipt number 3. We're going to credit her account for 150 because she owes us less. Assets decrease with a credit. We're going to debit cash because we received cash. Then on the 30th, we have our received cash from sales. This is the transaction where there's no account to write in because we use two special columns. So we have our check mark. Then sales, credit, $625. Cash, debit, $625. Since we're using two special columns, cash and sales, then we don't have any accounts to write here, so instead we put a check mark. So that was the last two transactions. Let's move on here to the last step. We need to total improve this last page for the month. So there's 30 days in April. So on the 30th of April, we're going to have our totals. You're going to go through and add up all the columns. Should be a lot easier with just a couple numbers. Go through, use a calculator, get those added in. We're not done yet because we need to make sure that debits equal credit. So I'm going to take the information from right here, these totals, and put them down into our page 2 proof. So our general debit, $5,615. General credit, $3,805. Sales, $3,755. We have our two cash amounts, $6,330, $4,385. So these numbers right here, coming directly from these totals at the end of April, the last date of the month. We need to add up our debits, so those two numbers add together gives us $11,945. We need to add up our credit, three numbers, leaves us with $11,945. Debits equal credits, then we're good to move on. The last thing we need to do is prove cash for the month. You'll need this information here. It says using page 2, prove cash. The beginning cash balance of April 1st is 0. The balance on the next unused check stub is $1,945. So this amount right here is how much the bank thinks that we have, $1,945. So cash on hand at the beginning of the month is 0. Total cash received during the month, that is our cash debit. When we receive cash, we debit cash up here. On the 29th, accounts receivable, K-Spa, she paid us, so we debited cash. So our total cash debit for the month, $6,330. 0 plus 6,330 is a 6,330. Then we need to subtract the cash used during the month. Anytime we write a check, we credit cash. So we're going to use the cash credit amount, $4,385. Total cash minus the cash spent during the month. We are left with $1,945. Based on our calculations, based on our journalizing, we think we have $1,945 in the bank, which is exactly what the instructions tell us we have. So we have proved cash at the end of the month. And that is chapter 3. We have completed an entire journal, several different transactions, and it is complete.